Alright, so here's our next day of notes. This one all about parallel lines and transversals and angles associated with them. So here we need to find the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 2. The measure of angle 1 is 8x plus 18, and the measure of angle 2 is 16x minus 6. And we know they are supplementary. So supplementary means they add to be 180, so we can add these two expressions together, 8x plus 18 plus 16x minus 6, all of which is equal to 180. Combine like terms, 8x plus 16x gets us 24x, and 18 minus 6 is 12, all still equal to 180. We can subtract 12 from both sides. 24x comes out to be equal to 168. So now we're going to divide by 24 on both sides. So x comes out to be equal to 7. So that's not what we were trying to find, though, and we need that to find the measure of the angles. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 8x plus 18. So that's going to be 8 times 7 plus 18, or 56 plus 18, which comes out to be 74. So that's the measure of angle 1. Now we know they're supplementary, so we could just take that 74 away from 180 and we're done. So 180 minus 74 is the measure of angle 2, which is 106. Okay, so the second question asks us for the measures, or it says the measures of two complementary angles are here. What's the measure of the smaller angle? So x plus 4, and 2x. And it says they're complementary, so we know that they add to be 90. So x plus 54 plus 2x is equal to 90. So we have now 3x plus 54 equal to 90, combining like terms. Going to subtract 54 from both sides. So 3x is equal to 90 minus 54 is 36. And then we divide by 3. And x is 12. So now we just need to plug that into the smaller one. And there's two options here. We can plug it in at 12 plus 54, or just multiply it times 2. We're looking for the smallest one. So 2 times 12 is 24, and 24 is less than half of the entire 90 degrees, so that is our smaller angle, 24 degrees. So today's notes cover parallel lines, skew lines, parallel planes, transversals, interior angles, exterior angles, consecutive interior angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and corresponding angles. So here's our first three definitions. All these were on our vocab, so hopefully we did that already. Parallel lines are coplanar lines that do not intersect. Skew lines are lines that do not intersect and are not coplanar. And parallel planes are two planes that do not intersect. So let's use this knowledge now. We have three questions here. We want to name all segments parallel to BC. And we want to name a segment skew to EH, just one. There's more than one. And we want to name a plane parallel to plane ABG. So first off, all segments parallel to BC. BC is this red line that I'm about to draw here, going straight up and down. So that means the other three lines that are up and down are parallel to that. So AD, EH, and FG. And that's it. A segment skewed to EH, so let me erase CB. EH is back here, and remember, skew means they are parallel, or they're not parallel, and they don't intersect. So examples of that, there's 4 options here. CF would not intersect HE or EH. Neither would CD or AB or GB. All 4 of those are skew lines. So you only need to name one of them. So CF is just fine. And then a plane parallel to plane ABG. Plane ABG is the bottom of the cube here, or prism. And that means that the plane that's at the top is our plane that's parallel. We use any 3 points together to name it. So C for plane CDE. Oops, if I spell plane right. There we go. Next portion here, transversal angle pair relationships. So there's a very good picture. I love this picture because of the shading, showing you the green is where the interior is, blue is where the exterior is. So, like for example, interior angles lie in the region in the green area, exterior angles lie in the blue sections. Consecutive interior angles, they're on the same side of the transversal, that's line T. It's the line that goes up and down, straight up and down. Consecutive interior angles, though, are on the same side of that line and inside. So 4 and 5 are consecutive interior angles, and 3 and 6 are consecutive interior. Alternate interior angles are on opposite sides of that line, so 3 and 5, and are inside as well. So 3 and 5, 4 and 6. Alternate exterior, just like alternate interior, are on opposite sides of the transversal, but are on the exterior, so 2 and 8, 1 and 7. And then corresponding angles are in the same position. So 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 4 and 8, 3 and 7 are the corresponding angles. So we need to classify the relationships between these angles. So first off, angle 2 and 6 are in the same position, so that means they are corresponding. One and 7 here are on the outside of our transversal. Let's see, line C, and so they're exterior, and the only option then is alternate exterior. I'm going to abbreviate where I can, so alternate exterior. And then the classify relationship between 3 and 8. They are on the same side of the transversal, and they are inside, so these are consecutive interior. And then the only thing we haven't used yet, 3 and 5 are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are inside of the lines A and B, so that means they are alternate interior. So our next picture here, now we are going to do the same thing, classify the relationships, and we're going to identify the transversal that is connecting them. So 1 and 2 are connected by the transversal at line V. There's our first part, line V. And 1 and 2 are in the same position, so they are corresponding. And then we have 2 and 3 are on opposite sides of the same transversal, so their transversal is line V as well. And they're opposite sides, and they're inside of the 2 other lines forming them, so that means they are alternate interior. And for C, looking at angles 4 and 5, our transversal here is line Y. They are on the same side, and they are interior, so that means they are consecutive interior. So, the corresponding angles postulate says that if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then each pair of corresponding angles is congruent. And the next slide goes into more detail about even more of those. Same exact thing. The alternate interior angles theorem says that two parallel lines cut by a transversal, the alternate interior angles are congruent. Consecutive interior angles are supplementary, they're not congruent. And alternate exterior angles are congruent only when we have a pair of parallel lines that are cut by a transversal. Then we have the perpendicular transversal theorem. In a plane, if a line is perpendicular to one of two parallel lines, then it is perpendicular to the other. So, here we have two parallel lines marked with the pink arrows there, and a transversal. We know that the measure of angle 11 is 51. What about 15? So, 15 is also 51 degrees. And the reason for that is that they are corresponding angles. And then for 16 and 11, so same measurement for 11, they are congruent as well. So that means the measurement of 16 is 51. And these are alternate exterior. They're both on the outside of the parallel lines, and they're on opposite sides of the transversal. Floor tiles. So hopefully floor tiles are all universal, so parallel throughout this whole thing. Probably not going to be perfect every time, but you know, it's supposed to be parallel. So that means that if angle 2 is 125, angle 3 is an alternate interior angle to it. So that means that the measurement of angle 3 should also be 125. Got two more practice problems here. Here's one of them. Actually, they're all on the same slide. Okay. So, the measurement of angle 5 is 2x minus 10. The measurement of angle 7 is x plus 15. We need to find x. And if we look in our picture here, you can see that 5 and 7 are corresponding angles. So that means they should be congruent. So we just set these equal to each other, and we can solve for x. So 2x minus 10 is equal to x plus 15. So we subtract x from both sides. We're left with x minus 10 is equal to 15. We're going to add 10 to both sides. X is equal to 25. And it just says to find x, so we found it. B. Last problem for these notes till the exit ticket. That's next. If the measure of angle 4 is 4 times y minus 25, and the measure of angle 8 is 4y, we need to find y. So now we can see that 4 and 8 are not corresponding. They're not alternate interior. They're not alternate exterior. They are not congruent. But 8 and 6 are corresponding, and 6 and 4 are a linear pair. So that means that 4 and 8 would be a linear pair as well. They're supplementary. So that means we just add these two together and set them equal to 180. So 4 times y minus 25 plus 4y equal to 180. So we distribute the 4. 4y minus 100 plus 4y is equal to 180. Combine some like terms here. We got two 4y's, so we have 8y minus 100 equal to 180. And we're going to add 100 to both sides. So we now have 8y is equal to 280. And we divide by 8 on both sides. And y is equal to 35. And that's it. Here's the exiting. Very similar process to what we just did on the last slide. Find x and find y.